Today we're going to go over the differences between the first, second, and third generation of the daVINCI arms for the daVINCI automatic painting machine. The differences between the first and second generation has to do with the routing of the paint in the airlines through the system. It's now incorporated into the arm directly, which cleans up the space that we have behind, and it also makes it easier to assemble and maintain. For the third generation, we opted for a much shorter arm. We did this for several reasons. One, it permits us to make the module lighter and to push apart the skates while at the same time maintaining the distance between the guns on both arms. The differences between the third and the second generation have to do with the size. Generation 3 is actually 70 millimeters shorter, and with the way it's mounted onto the system. If we look at the second generation, you'll notice that the second generation is bolted directly onto the plate. It uses a mechanical fuse with two switches in which, if there's an impact, the arm twists, hits the switches, and the machine stops. The customer then manually puts the arm back in its place, checks the system, and continues working. With the third generation, we opted to change the way we mount it. It's no longer mounted directly to its plate, so we designed bushings, which fit in, and a separate bushing, which actually takes the torque of the bolt, holding it onto the plate. This allows us to tighten it up, and the arm is able to move freely within the system. By doing this, we also needed to upgrade the mechanical fuse. As you can see, the mechanical fuse is much different than what exists in the first and the second generation. Now that the arm can move freely, the mechanical fuse gets installed as such, and it's now the mechanical fuse which is 100% responsible for the placement and alignment of the arm in the system. You'll notice 4 small holes, which are to route the airlines, and 4 larger holes for the paint lines. Now, instead of routing everything through the opening in the plate, we now route it directly through the support. It also cleans up the space and makes it easier to assemble. The mechanical fuse absorbs the energy via these 2 parts here, which then hit the micro switches. You'll notice that also the bracket where the Viva 400 automatic paint guns are mounted is actually much more robust and a little bit more streamlined for the cover so we don't get paint inside the system. The arms, which hold the Viva 400 automatics, have also been beefed up, where you have the central arm, which is 10 millimeters thick, and the exterior arm, which we increased by 0.5 millimeter and redesigned the structure so it's more rigid. This allows the customers to change the guns without having flexibility. So now, during production, the operator can come, change the nozzles, and there's less flex.